great. So I'll just rely on lots of energy and breath work and vocal cues to walk us through this journey here. Thank you. Hi, I'm Prabtish. Today, I don't have visual aids, but I hope these plants serve as something grounding for the soul. Because today I want to challenge a popular assumption that entrepreneurship inherently liberates us because it gives us freedom. Entrepreneurship is not pure autonomy. It is a license, a socially mediated permission to act. For many, this license comes with invisible strings, shaped by culture, family, labor markets, and internalized expectations of what a good woman should be. Freedom, then, is not the absence of limits, it is the ability to act meaningfully within them. And I say woman because I studied women entrepreneurs extensively, but the lessons in this story apply to all of us, I think. One of my favorite philosophers once said, "Freedom is always situated." It sounds like we're free when we have a business up and running because we're free from the cage of 9 to 5. It sounds like we're free when we're unmarried, but it's actually just the freedom from the mental load of being the woman of a household. Despite these broad definitions and well-marketed versions of freedom, we also know that there is a different side to the story. There is always a different side to the story. And fact is, sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. But also, fact is, the grass is greener where you water it. Freedom is never absolute. It is never just the only thing. For women entrepreneurs, which is the population, again, I studied extensively, entrepreneurship is a form of conditional freedom, a space negotiated between duty and desire, between cultural boundaries and personal ambition. Some call this the double bind. Bell Hooks once wrote, "Love is a verb." From what I've seen, for so many women, their businesses are exactly that. Love in action. Acts of care that feed both agency and obligation in the expression of freedom. I want flexible work hours so I can spend time with my kids after school in the afternoons and work at night while they're sleeping. I will take online classes in the evening so I can work during the day and still afford rent for my family. I will make sure my meetings are only in the mornings while my kids are at school so that I can afford to spend my afternoons getting my assignments done really quickly. We practice this freedom every day. We practice this act of loving ourselves, our family, our friends, every day. And this is what I call the license to love. Freedom that is earned, shaped, and sometimes restricted by the structures around us, but not stopping us from exercising love, from exercising care, even if it is just to ourselves. Kathy Hughes, founder of Radio One, was told she talked too much. She heard it all the time as a little black girl. "Be quiet, don't talk." Indra Nooyi, the first South Asian immigrant CEO of a Fortune 500 company, still went home to cook dinner for her husband and showed up for her daughter's bake sales, just because she wanted to. Showing up for her family mattered to her. Whitney Wolfe Herd redefined dating dynamics through Bumble, not by rejecting the rules, but by rewriting them. Women now must make the first move for any matches to happen at all, to get a conversation at all, to get any chance at having a relationship through this app. Jennifer Hyman democratized luxury fashion with Rent the Runway. Now, anyone can have access to high fashion. And my personal favorite, someone no one's heard of, a hidden billionaire behind Sintel. Nirja Sethi mastered invisibility accountability as a strategy in a world that still doubts women in tech. She quietly grew a multi-billion-dollar company because she understood and accepted the realities of women, especially Indian women, in tech. Each of these women redefined their boundaries by accepting that they had to operate within the confines of these boundaries. They navigated paradoxes. They asked, so now what? Not by escaping structures, but by rewriting the rules that were holding them back as something to be worked around, not escaped from. In today's speak, they essentially got rid of their avoidant energy. So what is this feminine double bind? Entrepreneurship promises independence, but for women, especially those balancing immigrant, caregiver, or first-generation identities, freedom often arrives tied to expectation. You're expected to contribute economically and nurture emotionally, to lead, but not too loudly, to pay half the rent and still be available to cook dinner. This is the double bind, where love and labor coexist in attention. Entrepreneurship doesn't erase it, it reframes it. What does this mean for us? What does freedom within form mean for us then? We see this every day. Students working full-time jobs, raising families, doing college apps, launching side hustles, doing homework at 10 p.m. I get emails at 1 a.m. Freedom here isn't theoretical, it's practical. It is the right to be a student however you want to be. It is the right to be a mother however you want to be. It is the right to be a teacher however you want to be. It is the right to redefine your story within the structures that exist. It is to take accountability for being a good student. It is to take accountability for being a hardworking dad, a provider. But when our hands are tied, the job market sucks, the city is expensive, groceries either rot or we can't afford them, our apples are lacking nutrients now, and the general vibes are just off, then what? In this story, how do we author freedom through form? In other words, how do we design opportunity, even when the path is narrow? And since we are here at North Seattle College today, I will be extrapolating this concept for every person here. This is because at our core, I believe that much of our suffering is the same. I won't do a deep dive into what it means to suffer, but I will focus our attention on the fact that while we have the same, or at least similar suffering, the resources we have around us deserve to be seen. The paradox of liberation is that entrepreneurship, aka to start your business, get your money, do whatever it is that you want to do, is always both rebellion and reconciliation. It's a balancing act. Rebellion against the rules that simply don't deserve to be respected anymore. Reconciliation with the expenses of living in this city. It's a beautiful city. Rebellion against what it means to provide for your family. Reconciliation with being a family guy who loves truly, deeply, and passionately for your wife and kids. To do whatever it is we want to do is both rebellion and reconciliation. These are the moments when constraints turn into catalysts. Constraints don't just exist for one person to accept or reject systems. They also allow us to bring them towards justice. It's kind of like redecorating a house. When you don't have the budget for a remodel, we cannot argue that within the same apartment layouts or the same house layouts, some people are comfortable and some are not. Some people are happy and some are miserable. We have the power to shape that space however we want. So what's stopping us? How can we reshape this space towards care, towards meaning, towards community? Oh, we don't have money. The world's a disaster. We're plummeting towards certain death. We could lose the love of our life. already there and we cannot break it. The world is already burning. So now what? How do we redecorate our life to live our best life within these walls? What do we actually have the power to do within these walls? Freedom is not a finish line. It is an active authorship of our own stories, where we get to be the main character and sustain the main character arc however we want. It is very much in the choice, the decision to do something within the limits of these constraints. There is this business concept called resource-oriented mindset. If you've taken my class, you must have heard it, I think. That comes naturally to people who are on the verge of giving up. But it doesn't have to get that bad for you to see it. I've seen this among immigrant women in the US where the odds are only stacked up against them. I've seen these among entrepreneurs in war zones where the concept of tomorrow doesn't even exist. So a resource-oriented mindset, sometimes we hear of it as a growth-oriented mindset, will only come to you naturally if you don't have any other way, if you don't have any other resources. The only other way is to just get through it. So how about let's just get through it? Look around you. I know it's dark, but you can see the people around you. Having a growth-oriented mindset essentially means to reframe problems as actionable solutions. Instead of women are considered to be trying too hard when they make the first move, we say women must make the first move for a match to happen. Instead of, I can't speak out loud in front of people, you say, I'm going to be a radio show host where it's literally my job to talk. Instead of, I have no money, we say, I should reach out to this friend who's really good at web development, and this other friend who's trying to gain more experience accounting, and this other friend who's a people person and amazing at car sales, to put a team together to sell ADU architectural licensing services to the booming ADU and DADU business in Seattle. This is not for top real estate players only. Chances are, the car salesperson lost a job from an architectural firm and is too old to get back in the game. Just facts. Chances are, the web development friend is going to be outcompeted in the job market by UW graduates. Just facts. Chances are, the accounting friend who's also desperately looking for an opportunity as more and more companies automate this process using AI. Just facts. Now what? The world is on fire. So now what? At North, we have the power of community. There are digital art students who are insanely amazing at design. We have app dev students we saw earlier, and IT students who are creating beautiful games, bringing people together. We have business students who are pitching to top-tier VCs and competing for incubator programs alongside funded startups in the greater Seattle area, one of the most competitive startup scenes in the world. The one restriction, money, does not even apply once you adopt a growth-oriented mindset, which is essentially what is in practice here, organically, as a result of the suffering I spoke of earlier. Something here drew us in to this moment. This is authorship, not just entrepreneurship. This is why we do not need permission, we need connection. Ask yourself, the next time the world says you need more money, you need to finish this certification, you need to graduate, you need to gain more experience, you need more time, ask yourself, do I really? Do we really need these things, fancy stuff like time? Who's guaranteeing that? We're here to be free. So be free. Become it. Freedom is not an escape from limits, but rather, it is the choice to be courageous within these limits. Entrepreneurship is not simply about business creation. It is a living, breathing philosophy of freedom practiced at the intersection of care, obligation, and resistance. It shows up as freedom, not when there is an absence of the limitations, but the capacity to act meaningfully within it. It is a form of love in action, reshaping what it means to be you, fully as yourself. The fact that you exist is freedom in itself. Chances of you existing are actually much lower than the chances of you winning the lottery every single day of your life. We were born to be free. Thank you.